So this is the 3-axis Clang Drive engine, and the 3-axis control script is driving it. And in this video I'm just doing some testing around an asteroid, trying not to crash into it, and making sure that it works with the inertial dampeners. It's actually, it is violent, like it doesn't stop with the dampeners, but it gets down to like 6 meters per second or so, and so I wouldn't try and land with it. It's going to be violent, so you want to turn off your rotor merges and your rotors, and use regular thrusters to do something like landing, likely. I might try and land with just the battery and a Klang Drive, with maybe some wheel suspensions at some point, but that's definitely future test. This is a modified type of Klang Drive because it's the rotary Klang Drive, but I've attempted to align the thrust a little bit more. So here you can see I forgot to turn on my microphone before, so I'm going to the terminal and actually found that. So I had so yeah, you have to name this timer blocks accordingly. There's some vague instructions in the script, and the same with the thrusters, they have to be named those names. But yeah, I actually found in my timer blocks actions, my spotlights weren't quite set up correctly, so it's kind of interesting to pay attention to. I go through them all and actually set them correctly here. So you have to just control the direction, the corresponding direction that you want when it comes on, and the opposing one to come off. And the same with the merge blocks in your Clang Drive. Initially I had to turn everything else off except for the direction you want, but I got rid of that because it actually helps to be able to combine directions. Say you want to be going forward and up, or forward and to the right, or down and to the left and up at the same time. Well, no, you can't go down and up at the same time. So you have it turn off your opposing direction and turn on the direction you want it to go. So you really need to turn two things, control two things with each timer block. And so you need 7 timer blocks, and the timer block N is for neutral, and that basically it senses that all 6 thrusters are not outputting maximum thrust, and it turns everything off. All the merge blocks and spotlights, in this case, they're just indicators. But the reason for using the timer blocks this way is you can have it control anything. So you could control the gravity drive. You can make a 6-axis, or I mean a 3-axis gravity drive with the same script, and I just put on my hotkeys. The rotor and the rotor merges are grouped, and so I can turn off the rotors and turn off the merge blocks on them to disable the Clang Drive. So you can similarly connect your gravity drive. Say I like to make a repulsion drive, which acts as a defense against Mach rounds, with the spherical drive. Spherical gravity generators set to repelling, and then the script will control groups of mass blocks, while on my hotkeys I can turn on and off either the group of hydrogen thrusters, so it can't detect anything and it'll set the neutral, or I turn off the repulsion field if I wanted to, say, get out of my seat and walk around without being squished against the walls. So you can still kind of put some controls on your hotkeys. Say you want to turn on and off an engine, but whatever you set up your timer blocks to do, the timer blocks correspond with the direction that your thrusters are on. So you can really customize it that way. And what you can't really see in the video is there's a bunch of hydrogen tanks, and there's 6 internal hydrogen thrusters that have the names corresponding with the direction outlined in the instructions, and those are necessary for the script. They're not really enough thrust to move the vehicle very quickly. It's just enough, like there's 1 thruster in each direction, so it is a very small piece here. So it's just enough to move it. But yeah, it's fairly easy to set up if you're careful and you don't get your wires crossed with your directions. Like you gotta name every block. So like you don't have to name the merged blocks, but you kind of have to name them in order to keep track of them, because they are just controlled by the timer blocks. But the timer blocks and hydrogen thrusters, they need the names to be correct for the script. So yeah, and you can see there I just have 2 perpendicular rotors, one on the side, one on the top, so that I got all 6 directions, because I have 16 merge blocks, I guess, in total, 4 on each rotor, and then 4 each rotor on each side of the, like, I guess there's 8 attached to the grid, and the 8 on the rotors. And so that means for forward and backward I actually have twice as many merge blocks, because there's a bit of overlap there. But for side to side and up and down, I have 1 merge block responsible for each of those directions. So you could you could put more of these rotors and merge blocks if you wanted it more balanced, but I just did a minimal design with just 2 rotors. So it's already quite a lot of merge blocks, and it's plenty powerful enough. Like with this kind of engine, it doesn't matter how heavy the ship is, it'll still accelerate. Yeah, I wish I flew around more in the video here so I could show you. If you look at the artificial horizon in the corner there, you can see, so right now I actually have the engine off and I'm drifting. Yeah, a skilled pilot could demonstrate this a little better, but yeah, really, it wobbles a bit as it goes. It's not perfectly smooth, but it's a lot smoother than with the very crooked Clang Drive. So pretty happy with how it works. Yeah, you'll have to excuse my footage here, but yeah, got the engine back on. I'm gonna do some flying here, and yeah, if you look at that artificial horizon, it's like wiggling. That little crosshairs in the circle, it wiggles all over the place, but it actually, as I'm rotating, like the ship, because the dampeners are on, it tracks very rigidly. There's almost no drifting other than that wobbling that you get. So when you turn, you're going the way you're facing. When just holding down W and turning, and it goes just wherever you point it, which is pretty crazy. You can do some weird things with the dampeners off too. It can go a little crooked, and it can do some really weird things when you're not rotating. It depends on certain angles. It doesn't seem to always engage, so I wouldn't trust it with your life. If you're near a voxel, you probably want to use some normal thrusters to dock and land and things like that. But in a combat situation or in open space, it's very effective. It should give you the maneuverability of a smaller craft, even if you got you can go in a gravity situation with these engines, and yeah. So I think it's a pretty good upgrade to my previous script. Having the 3-axis controls, it just gives you that little bit better ability there. Anyway, thanks for watching this this demonstration. Hopefully you could see, I'm pointing out I have the torque is low here, or normal. It's not high torque, and anyway.